Hey.
All right, we're back. It's QR code. I'm Razor,
And I'm Q.
and we're back. We took a little break there, but it was a good thing because during the break, we managed to win two games after coming off of a two-game losing streak. We beat the Indianapolis Colts and we beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. We want to thank Ben, our Colts fan, for getting us jump started with our winning streak, even though I know he didn't want to do that. It was great having him on, and we're looking forward to having him back and having other guests on the show very, very soon. We're screening those. So those of you who have contacted me, please be patient. I am going through the list. I'm looking to get you guys on as soon as possible. And we're planning on doing that in the upcoming weeks. So, without further ado, that out of the way, all of the paperwork out of the way, we're going to get on to discussing what's happened in the past 2 weeks, what we've seen, the good, the bad, the relatively ugly, but, you know, a win is a win. They don't give you
Give us
style
the
points in the
God
NFL.
gave, man.
That's right. It's like they don't give you style points in the NFL. There's not a good win and a bad win. It's just a win. So,
Yep.
that being said, I'm going to fire away.
All right. So first, it was the tale of two cities because, they played relatively well against the Colts. I mean, sometimes they look kind of shaky on O, and then sometimes that defensive secondary just scares the daylights out of me. But they seem to always make big plays when they needed them. I mean, uh, Colts game, interception to lock it down. I mean, and same for this past week. I mean, I'm just amazed. But the other thing is that I've just totally forgotten to mention about this past week against Jacksonville. This was the game I was hoping for the three like over the last 3-4 weeks, because the Vikings have not proven yet that they can win one of those really ugly games. And it seemed
This was
like
ugly. This one was
no
ugly.
matter what they tried to do, you know, it just went sour inside the red zone. In fact, I mean, they turned the ball over. Well, they're all three interceptions were in the red zone. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you just can't get any worse than that. And you turn the ball over 3 times, score no touchdowns, and you win. That's it was an ugly game, but that's one of those games that we have to know that they know they can win.
Right. And that proved a lot. I know you and I we've talked offline off the show, but one of the things that I'm impressed with that there seems to be a lot of, I don't know, hand wringing about, is the fact that we are playing this year. I don't care what anybody says. I realize the expectations were low and then they became high, but we're playing with house money. We have a bridge quarterback, folks. He's still a bridge quarterback. I don't care if he started 5-0, he's still a bridge quarterback. And we are 7-2 right now. If anybody thought that the NFL wasn't going to catch up with Sam Darnold, they haven't been paying attention. They catch up with Pat Mahomes. They catch up. Every quarterback has to learn to adjust his game, to change his game, because defensive coordinators and defensive players are very good at what they do. Sam Darnold is becoming a quarterback, despite the fact that he's been in the league for a long time. He's becoming a quarterback under Kevin O'Connell. So the fact that he's struggling now shouldn't be a surprise. We have faced some tough competition. We have faced the Niners, the Rams, the Lions. Those are difficult teams to beat.
Mm.
And we won two of those three games that I just mentioned. The fact that he struggles in a game, the fact that he has a bad day at the office, which all of us have bad days at work. Okay. The fact that Sam Darnold had a bad day at work or a couple of bad days at work and still came away with the victory is something Vikings fans should be celebrating, not driving themselves crazy about, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We have to bench Sam Darnold. What are we going to put in Nick Mullins? Is that what we're going to do? Is that where we're going?
Right.
Is that where we're going? Nick Mullins? Why don't we get Josh Dobbs back? How about that? It's like, no, Sam has gotten us to 7-2, which any Vikings fan outside of those who are completely delusional would have taken after 9 games this season. Did I miss something?
Well, and what did you say? It was Vegas was saying six was the number.
6.5, 6.5. Vegas gave us
Six and
six
a
and a
half.
half. If
Can
you
you
bet the
imagine?
over, you're cashing that ticket this week.
So 2 weeks ago, yeah, because
Hmm?
six. No, no, they're one.
Six
I'm
and a half.
sorry.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
6.5. If you bet the over in Vegas, you're cashing that ticket, which for those of you not familiar with the city of Las Vegas, it's littered with beautiful casinos, $1 million chandeliers, carpeting, gorgeous suites. They don't generally lose money. They rarely lose money. The casinos rarely lose money. So when casinos all get together and say the Minnesota Vikings are going to win 6.5 games and they are wrong in November, that's an anomaly. You take that. You take that. I don't want to hear the crap about how Sam Darnold's not living up to whatever you thought Sam Darnold should be. It's insane. It's insane.
I don't think they even at the beginning. I don't even think they really cared. I think they had a competent quarterback that could throw to Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. So,
Yeah.
like any idiot can do this. Let's pay this. Let's tell him at the beginning, dude, you're just passing through. Pay him a because he didn't get in. He had that's the biggest paycheck he's had because remember he was on his rookie deal that for those other stops that he had. But but he knew he's just there to watch the next guy come up.
Really.
And I
But
don't know why people are just so crazy with the oh, we can bench Darnold. No, our guys are tickled to death probably that this guy that Vegas had him winning 6.5 games. That's it, and he's already got there, like you said, in November. I mean,
it,
who would have thunk?
it's an unrealistic set of expectations. It's sort of like being the athlete who goes to the Olympics, competes, wins a bronze medal, goes back to the Olympic Village, and nonstop bitches to everybody else in there. Oh God, I can't believe I only won a bronze medal. I only won a bronze medal. Well, one person got a gold, one person got a silver. The rest of the people got nothing. Okay, you're sitting
Right?
with a bronze medal winner right now. You can't complain nonstop that he's not winning the gold and silver. He's Sam Darnold. He's Sam Darnold. We didn't go out and pay $300,000 a year for this guy. We got him for 10 million, which is the equivalent of buying a 1997 Toyota Celica and saying, "I'm going to run in the Indy 500." Oh, I only came in fifth. Yeah, you came in fifth. Take the fifth. Take the fifth. Because if you spent the money on a top-notch quarterback and you were getting this production 7-2, you'd still be happy because a lot of top-notch quarterbacks in the NFL aren't sitting at 7-2 this year. That's my
Mm.
rant. I'm gonna hold on a second. Let me move my soapbox. Okay, okay. I'm down
But
from the soapbox now.
a very good rant, very good rant it was.
Thank you, thank you. I just it's making me crazy every time I hear people complain about Sam Darnold as though we mortgaged our future. Literally, we
Just
told the
be
man he was
grateful you
JJ
got there.
McCarthy's stopgap. Yeah, he was JJ McCarthy's stopgap. On that front, as I spoke
Mm.
to you earlier today, JJ McCarthy.
Do tell.
Turns out he had to have a second surgery yesterday. We don't know the extent of it because it just happened yesterday, but they said there was swelling on his knee. It could be because he was rushing back because he wasn't following the doctor's orders. We don't know. We can't speculate. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But what I will say is he's 21 years old. Somebody's got to rein him in and say, dude, take it easy. You have the rest of your life to do this. I know if you're JJ McCarthy, you're watching what's going on with the Vikings, you're watching Sam Darnold, and you're thinking, man, I could do this. I could do better. I could do better. Patience, patience. The Kevin O'Connell and the rest of the coaching staff and the medical staff have to rein him in and say, you've got time. Relax, relax. You'll be there, but we need you to heal because we don't need to risk 2025, 2026 for nonsense. And I stand corrected because I said I was going to get off my soapbox, but it seems that I'm still still sitting on it now.
Oh, my gosh, my gosh, my gosh.
The quote the great Dennis Miller. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but yeah, there's so much in this joyous time of the year when we approach Thanksgiving, and the Minnesota Vikings fans have so much to be thankful for. Let's
Mm.
just be thankful for it. Let's be thankful that we're not the Cleveland Browns. We're not the Jets. We're not the Atlanta Falcons who have a quarterback that can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I said I wouldn't. I said I wouldn't. I said I
But
wouldn't.
go on, but preach on, my brother, preach
No,
on.
no, no. Let's just be thankful that we are not those teams. We are complaining because our middle of the road quarterback is 7-2. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?
It
Just
no, just I just can't.
I
But
can't
I
either.
I also think it might be. I think it also might be. And I don't want to sound like you know just somebody using age discrimination or anything, but well, there's that one generation that just the I want it now people and don't they're not patient like wait for the plan to work itself out. No, I want it now. I want it now.
Okay, well,
And I'm
that
not going to call any names.
that being said,
Hold on.
okay, that being said, we're gonna step back when they get off of your lawn, Grandpa, and we're gonna move on to the next topic,
All right.
which is
All right. We're gone then. Bye.
which
We're gone. We gone.
exactly, which is we're gonna look back 1 week on that last game on the Jacksonville Jaguars game, since we did not do an episode before that. Any comments, any thoughts on that game? Anything you can share?
In the Jacksonville game, yeah,
Yes.
it was well, I said at the top of the show, it was ugly, but that's one of those games that they needed to have sometime. And the middle of the season is the perfect time to bury that ugly, that game. But just some great drama in that game, but in that kickers in camp since Tuesday, and the
No,
only only
he'd been there
offensive
before.
production we had came from a guy who just came to camp with the long snapper and changed holders too, didn't they?
Well, we changed holders, but John Parker Romo, excuse me, Parker Romo, he dropped the John for whatever reason, even though everybody in Viking world refers to him as JPR. Parker Romo was with the team in training camp. He lost his job to big leg Bill Will Reichert, although it
Mm.
wasn't really much of a competition. So he knew the organization. He knew the setup. He knew the locker room.
And
Um,
the locker room seemed to respond well to him. Now that well, shit, I mean, shoot, they won. I mean,
yeah, he
they
scored. He
won.
scored all of the points. He scored all of our
Whoever
points.
he's got, so that's our guy. That's our guy this week, right?
That's right. That's
So,
right. He's the MVP. He's the team MVP.
mm,
One of the things I do remember from the years, and again, I'm 6 days older than dirt. So one of the things I do remember from my youth as a Viking fan was the Dennis Green era, and even before that, where if we had to win a game, uh, 16-15, we would win 16-15. If we had to win a game, 45-44, we'd win the game 45-44. It doesn't matter how many points you allow as long as you score one more than the other team. If we
absolutely.
yeah, if we can win on 4 field goals, we won on 4 field goals.
I
We wouldn't have gotten any extra W's if those interceptions were touchdowns, right?
That's correct. But we weren't even like, but we, through the Zimmer years, man, we weren't even close to that.
No,
It was so unpredictable. Now, part of it was, some of it wasn't Zimmer's fault because how many years? 4 years of them was with Kirk Cousins.
six.
6. Oh my God. I tried to
No, I'm
forget.
sorry. For you, right, four because the last two were under Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah. But at either rate, awful.
Yeah,
He's not a good quarterback, and everyone's just like oohing and ahhing over him, and he was terrible.
well, mediocrity at the quarterback position is acceptable. I mean, you see it with the Jets. The Jets are making excuses for a 41-year-old quarterback who has won one Super Bowl back when I was in my 50s. And
Boy, that was a long
really,
time ago.
yeah, exactly. And the Green Bay Packers figured out 4 years ago or 5 years ago that Aaron Rodgers was not the quarterback for them, and they drafted Jordan Love, and now the Jets are still trying to figure that out. And he's won two games for them over the last two seasons, so one game per season, definitely worth him changing coaches, bringing in receivers, etc. The reality is where we are right now, and I rarely say this about the Vikings, but I'm very comfortable. If we don't win another game this year, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not one of these people that thinks we have to win every game. I want the long-term plan. I've seen winning seasons. I've seen winning games. What I haven't seen is a Super Bowl. I'm 64. I have not seen a Super Bowl victory from this team. I've watched four of them, four games, but I've never seen a victory. And if we go 15-1 again and don't get to the Super Bowl, don't win it, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can watch the games and enjoy them, but I don't think that I want to go through that again. I like
Mm.
the idea of us having a future. We have to play every season. We can't just sit out a season and wait for the next season. So while we're playing it out, let's ride it out. Let's take the 7-2 after 9, and then see what JJ McCarthy can bring us. Because the game we could play in our heads is okay. Sam Darnold didn't look good. What if
Right.
JJ McCarthy were back there? Would we have had a better chance of winning? Would we have won that game if JJ McCarthy was our quarterback? Would he have thrown those picks? And if the answer is yes, then you have 2025 to look forward to. If the answer is no, then the question is why aren't we winning those games? And if the reason is because our secondary needs work, well, guess what? We're going to have money to go out and get a secondary next year because we spent $10 million on a quarterback this year. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yep.
My
Absolutely.
my takeaway from that game on Sunday was our defense looked great, our offense looked bad. We're going to have bad days. If we have a couple of bad weeks, we have a couple of bad weeks. 17 weeks is a long season. 18 weeks with the bye, that's a long season.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
I don't care who you are. Even the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to have an off day. Just don't have them in December and January if you're a playoff team. I don't believe this team is a team that's going to do anything in the playoffs, but I do want to see this team build for the playoffs next year. That's what I
If
want to
they
see.
lose, if they lose again the first week of December, I don't care. And then they win out. I mean, I'm good. I mean, but
Okay.
remember, I said 12 and 5 this year.
Yes, yes, you did. You said 12 and
I
5. I
said,
said 8 and
and
9.
I'm on pace. So,
Yes,
and
you are.
you're well ahead of your pace. I
No,
mean,
I'm no, no. I'm behind my pace because I said 8 wins, 9 losses. So
well, yeah,
we
yeah,
would have
I get
we'd
that.
have
I
to
got
go
that.
one and lost the rest of the season in order for me to be correct. And again, I'm man enough to say when we hit that ninth win, if we hit the ninth win, I'm man enough to say I was wrong because the team exceeded my expectation. But for all the people running around as acting as though they expected us to be 7-2, and why aren't we 9-1, 8-1? Why aren't we 9-0? Because you didn't think we would be, and nobody did. We're playing with house money, and if you're playing with house money, trust me, I can speak on this as somebody who's been to a casino. I can tell you, if you've got house money in front of you, you have the chance of putting it in your pocket and walking away, or letting it ride. And unfortunately, in the NFL, you can't just walk away in week number 10. You have to
Right.
keep playing it. You have to
And
keep
by
playing.
the way, we could have just as easily been like 4 and 5.
Oh, easily,
You know,
easily.
easily we could have been. So
Easily.
it, but hey, look
But
where we are. Count,
but
count. I'm counting the blessings. It's because it's amazing to watch because I'm also watching. We're also watching a culture grow, and
that's
a
it.
culture is the difference between your just a team that man wins some games and then a team that just does things like go through the playoffs. Like look at the Lions. And
Mhm.
I hate comparing the division rivals, but man, the Lions built a culture like, yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
win. And then now the Vikings are doing that same thing. Maybe not quite at the measure that the Lions are doing, but my gosh, they you can't tell them, oh, you're probably gonna lose this one. No, they don't care. They're gonna compete.
Hmm.
And I love this team and I love these coaches, man. They're awesome
Yeah,
to watch.
they are. And you know what? As much as it pains me as a Viking fan, I have to give the Lions props too because my wife and I went to Vikings Lions game a couple of years ago when the Lions were over and they beat us. And on the way out, the Lions fans, to a man, to a woman, every last one of them, they were, you know, uh, saying, "Oh, good game, good game." A couple of them even said, "Oh, sorry about that. Can't believe it. We didn't expect that." I'm like, they're apologizing for this is what the Lions were 2 years ago. For Dan Campbell to have turned that franchise around to the point where when the Lions walk onto the field, they expect when Jared Goff throws five interceptions, five interceptions, and the Lions like, we got this. We got this. That's culture. That's culture. That's culture. You don't expect to again. I have to reference the late Denny Green again. When the Vikings stepped on the field, and I remember this very well in the 98 season, 97, 98. There were times when it was third, and I remember one particular drive, it was third and 15. And Dennis Green called it a play. Cunningham goes in, and we complete a 23-yard pass because who doesn't have a third and 15 play? I mean, it's, of course, we just use our third, we just use our third and 23 play. It's like twice in that game they converted third and more than 11 yards. And at no point were they surprised that it happened because they just thought, well, okay, well, this is where we are. Penalty. It's like, okay, fine, we got this. That's what you want. You want the team to go out there and feel like they're going to win. And this is what I honestly feel that Kevin O'Connell is building this, and JJ McCarthy is not on the field, but he's watching it. He's got the head, but he's back
But
with the team.
his head has always been like back in Michigan, he thought like a grown up. He was always like, just ahead of what's going on. So I think he's gonna be fine, man. I think he's gonna be fine.
He will.
I think he's gonna grow into be an awesome quarterback. But those big
He's
Michigan kids, man,
he's still very
oh,
young. He's still very young, and he's 21. He's 21, so he's got a lot of time to become a great quarterback. I
he
think
sure does.
we could destroy him, not we, the fan base, but the coaching staff, and I don't believe they'll do this, but can destroy him by rushing him into a situation that he's not ready for and for which he's not ready. And if you're going to play Sam Darnold to play out this season and let JJ McCarthy sit and learn, unfortunately the injury happened, but fortunately it prevented the possibility of the crowd chanting for him every time Darnold throws a pick. People aren't
Mm.
chanting to get JJ Murray because I think by now there would have been enough backlash and screaming and yelling of fans that O'Connell and the staff might have felt pressure to put JJ McCarthy into games. And who knows? You put him out there, and you know this. You put a young quarterback out there too soon, it could damage him for life. It could damage
Well,
him for the season.
I'm sure Ziggy and Mark are happy
No, yeah.
because this turned out way better. Like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to. Wait a minute, 5-0. Wait a minute, 7-2, man.
It's better than they wanted.
They weren't, and I know, like in their heart of hearts, they probably weren't expecting this kind of start,
Oh no,
and I'm sure they're tickled to death now. So,
they always
and
want to compete. They always
yeah,
want to compete.
right. So we're competing with a guy. Well, not the most likely. So let's see where the second half of the season takes us.
Case Keenum took us to the NFC Championship game not very long ago. So anything could happen. All
Yeah.
right. All
All
right.
right. This week,
Okay. So now we're going to move on to the future. We've got the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. Um, I'm going to let you go and give me your prediction for this game.
Vikings, and this is actually probably going to be the bounce back game. They're going to win. They're going to win this game like 37-10.
Okay. Now this is in Tennessee. So
I don't
we're
care.
going on
Will
the
Levis.
road. Yeah. Very
Will
good.
Levis is so inconsistent. I'm not to the point where I'm going to call him trash yet, but meh.
Do we
I
know
know
that
all the kids
do
are saying that
do
these days.
do
Meh.
we do we know that it's going to be Will Levis and not Mason Rudolph? Do we know who's starting that game?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Mason Rudolph, Mason Rudolph's trash, man.
I think
You know,
Mason Rudolph is actually better than Will Levis, to be honest. But
he
uh,
could be, but they're both trash. So if you know, elephant poop or rhino poop,
yeah,
which, which
yeah. Well, I think honestly, I have to agree with you. I've been saying this for weeks, and I've been wrong for weeks because I've expected at least one blowout. I expected us to beat up on a bad team. The Giants are a bad team. We beat them, but we didn't beat up on them. The Colts are a bad team. We didn't beat up on them. The Jaguars, now the Tennessee Titans. So I'm going to pump the brakes a little. I'm going to say that we will win this game, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be like a 6 point game. I think it's going to be one of those games where, first of all, I don't think there's going to be, I think they're going to be hyper alert for the turnovers, for the interceptions. I don't think that Darnold's going to be chucking the ball toward Jefferson every time he sees him flash across the field. Um, but I think they're going to rely on the run a little bit more. I think O'Connell's a little impatient now. He doesn't like mistakes. So I'm going to say that it's going to be a 24-16 game, Vikings. That's
all
eight
right,
points.
yeah.
But I still think it's going to be defensive dominance, and I wouldn't be surprised if 6 of those points come from our defense. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Van Ginkel sighting. I
Or
wouldn't be.
or hey, or Cam Bynum when that one of his awesome dances.
Yeah, can't find him. I'm sure he's rehearsing. And somebody said, I heard somebody say that we're gonna get to the NFC Championship game and the Vikings gonna lose because of a defensive mistake, and then the BD is gonna say, "Oh, it's maybe if Cam Bynum had spent more time working on his defense and not his dance moves." It's like, you know, what? If we lose in the NFC Championship game because of Cam Bynum, I'm still okay with that because we got to the
Right.
NFC Championship game. But I wouldn't be happy if the Lions won and they went on. Well, I would, because then they'd lose to the Chiefs. So as long as the Lions don't win one before we do, I'm okay with that.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's that's pretty much it. And do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this episode?
No, I think we hit it all pretty well today.
Okay. Well, I think that I said we're gonna try to like I said, I've got a couple of guests in the hopper, which I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to work them in. I don't know if I want to have a couple of people on at one time or one at a time, but uh, stay tuned, folks, and you'll be finding that out. And for those of you who have written to me, I am working on getting back to you, so check your messages. Um, Other than that, that's it for this week. So for the QR code, I'm Razor,
I'm Q.
and we'll see you guys next week. Go.